Now, it has been an unimaginably difficult few months for the families of Ian Coates, Barnaby Webber and Grace O'Malley Kumar, who were fatally stabbed in Nottingham in June last year.
You'll remember that their killer, Valdo Calocane, was given a hospital order after admitting manslaughter. But yesterday, the Attorney-General described that sentence as unduly lenient, and it's now going to be reviewed by a panel of judges. We're going to speak to Barnaby's family here on the sofa in just a minute. But first, we can hear from Ian Coates' son, James, who gave his reaction to the Attorney-General's decision on East Midlands today.
Surprised, but very pleasantly surprised. It was definitely what we were looking for, and we're really glad that the Attorney-General has decided to go with the appeal. We've been let down over the last few months from the various different agencies. It feels like something bad happens every single week. So me personally, I've gone in thinking the worst. And then straight off the bat, she's come out and said straight away, or before we even discuss anything, I want to let you know that we're going with the appeal. And it just was like a weight lifted off our shoulders, and it took all the doubts away, and we could focus on the call then and get all the information from her, which is obviously a massive positive thing for us. I don't think you can really cope in situations like this. There's never really time to grieve or think about anything, because there's just so much that needs to be done. There's so many inquests and reviews and stuff that need doing over the different agencies, the different failures. There's just so much to concentrate on there. We haven't had a chance really to step back and look at the bigger picture and look at what's happened. And I'm quite fearful that that day is going to come at some point soon, and it's going to be a lot to take on, a lot of emotions, but there's still work to be done, and we have to be the voice for our loved ones that have been taken away because they can't represent themselves. With regards to the O'Malley Kumars and the Webbers, we've gained 2 extra families as part of our family now. They've been great. Obviously we all share an anniversary now that we never want to celebrate, but there will be a day, and that day is going to be June the 13th, where we'll all be struggling with the same emotions, and at least I know now that I can turn to them if I need help, and hopefully they feel the same, and we can raise a toast to the ones that we've lost, and hopefully start building more of a friendship and a relationship with them as time goes on.
It's James Coates speaking last night. We're joined now on the sofa by Barnaby Webber's mum, Emma, dad, David, and younger brother, Charlie. Morning to all of you.
Morning.
Gosh, I just think it's a month ago that I was in your house in Somerset, and in the last 4 weeks, you've had the court case, you've had the sentencing, you've been to Downing Street, you've now had the... I mean, just put into words, what have the last 4 weeks been like?
It's been intense. It's been really, really intense. It's exhausting. It's not, I wouldn't say it's pleasurable, but it's something that we feel we've had to do. And it feels like it's a freight train that doesn't stop at the moment. It just keeps going and keeps going.
Relentless, isn't it? And, with the development yesterday that Calocane's sentence is going to be referred to the Court of Appeal, just tell me I know it's very fresh news in your mind. I'm interested in what you all think about that.
I mean, personally, we as a family think it's the right decision. I think the public think it's the right decision as well. It was something that we couldn't believe when we were sat in that court and we heard what was being said. I think there was a bit of a shell shock hit us, and it was just actually what have we just heard. But to hear yesterday the Attorney-General say what she did was, well, Emma started crying because it was just a wave of emotion, because we quite honestly, because of everything that's happened, we just felt we were going to sit there and it was going to be just nothing's going to change, and we were just going to be fighting more and more for that. And so it really just, we all just felt a wave of emotion hit us that at last something has gone in the right direction.
And yet, this is another beginning in a way, isn't it? Because despite the relief that there's a possibility here, it's not the end of the story.
There's no guarantee, absolutely no guarantee whatsoever. So we can be optimistic and hopeful, but I think that we have to be mindful that it might stay exactly the same, and it doesn't change the plea. It can only change the sentence, and we will always maintain we don't agree that it was manslaughter. We will always always say that it was murder, but you have to deal with what, you know, each thing as it comes along. So this is the beginning of lots. You've already said there's lots of other processes in the investigation into the CPS handling of the case, but also their prior contact. It's been extended to do that now. We've got the IOPC investigating Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire police, and the CQC and NHS England investigating the Mental Health Trust. So it's a lot. But this is a big one. This is a big move forward because it's the perpetrator. It's where we felt the most let down.
And what do you hope comes from those reviews that you've mentioned, from all the other parts, all the other things that are being investigated? What would you like to happen with those investigations?
I think if we're not careful, we're at risk of those being silos, because there's so many moving parts in each of them, and so many different organisational bodies and directors and directorships and stuff. It was interesting. Victoria Prentice said to us yesterday morning. She said to all of the families that she's really conscious that we have a lot going on with. She said of all over the government. Was her word. So I think what we want is to make sure that everything is done fully and properly, and if that does mean it needs to be a public inquiry, then so be it. It may not. So I don't think we're calling for something until we have got the facts presented.
And Charlie, while your mum and dad are going to London and having all these meetings with ministers and experts in various, you're just having to try to get on with your life without your big brother around. I mean, how are you doing, just on a human level?
I mean, it's really weird, I think, to sit back and just kind of watch it unfold, because I'm not really like in the middle of it anymore, I don't think, which I'm quite relieved about because it's a lot of stress and stuff like that. But it is weird because it's so different, because a lot of the time, well, like, I'm not home alone, but I'm alone in Taunton or anything like that because mum and dad are up here or in Nottingham or in London. So it's weird just being at home alone again, I think, but
We don't just leave it. It's not like Kevin.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We know exactly what you mean.
The dogs are there. They look out for them. They're very responsible.
And they're very cute dogs. I remember the cute dogs.
Yeah, I think they had an almighty fight in front of you, didn't
they?
they?
I think that was just me. I think that was my presence, I think. But I mean, I really am in awe of the way that you're holding yourselves together and the other two families as well. And that unity that you've got with them. We saw James Coates on East Midlands today, the O'Malley Kumars, I know you're in touch with constantly. They're over in London. But what does that give you, that kind of bond between the different families?
I think it's unity, and it gives you solidarity and some strength. And particularly since the sentencing hearing in Nottingham, we have much more contact with the Coates, with James and his brothers, and that's helped them. But it's also helped us because it's a different, it's a different side to it. It's so much so that James, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but James invited us to his wedding. On Sunday we got a message, didn't we, to ask us to go to his wedding in April. So that will be something nice to celebrate. Actually, I suppose we feel like we've got, new family members.
Is that what it feels like?
It does a bit.
Your families become other families.
Extended.
feels like we've known them for like years.
I know.
And they've only known them for a couple of months.
Yeah. Sanjoy's brother, lovely man called Sunil.
That's Grace's dad, yeah.
Sanjoy's Grace's dad. His brother, Sunil, when they were a big group of them up in Nottingham with us, and as he left, he said, we have a new family now.
Oh.
And it's really, it helps, it gives you strength.
And Charlie, I just wonder how it helps you, because, we interviewed Grace's younger brother, James, who's the same kind of age as you, and you two have contact, don't you, as well?
Yeah, I think it would be a lot harder without him, because we're the youngest people there, obviously, all the time, so it's quite nice to, have someone who, in a way, knows what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Does he feel like a bit like a brother?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
One of the other things that you're all dealing with at the moment, we know that earlier in the week, Nottinghamshire Police, 2 officers were disciplined, weren't they, for WhatsApp messages that were shared in the aftermath of the attacks. I'm just wondering what went through your head when you heard that.
Yeah, I think the first thing to be really clear on is that we didn't have any prior knowledge of that. The police did not tell us that this had happened. We found out about it at the tail end of the sentencing. days in Nottingham. So that was 20 whatever of 24th of January. So we found about it by reading about it in the media and then looked into it. It's abhorrent. It's abhorrent voyeurism. It's wrong, and I think to any members of staff or police officers that did view or share anything, shame on them, because do they have children? Do they have a mum? Do they have a dad? Imagine how they might feel being us. However, we have had clarification yesterday from the Chief Constable of the numbers involved and the investigation, and an apology in an email for us not being told prior. There's other things we haven't been told, and we've obviously made a complaint about the whole investigation. So it's horrible, it's awful, it doesn't stop. But sadly, it didn't really surprise us, I think. I don't know what you think.
It's another layer, and it just keeps, you know, we say it keeps coming, it does keep coming. You're sort of waiting for the next revelation to hit, because obviously there's lots of people looking at everything at the moment, and you're just waiting for a phone call to say we've just found this, and you're thinking, oh, really? Is that no? You know, all we want to really do is move on. You know, as best we can. You know, it's horrible. I'm looking right at Barney between the two of you, and it's horrendous. You know, the fact that he's no longer here for us, and you know, Charlie. You know, I spend every day looking at Charlie and seeing the pain in his eyes, and we just want to move forward. But for all three of them, we can't move forward until we get what we need. And
Charlie, what you were talking about earlier, you know, how life is different and you're at home and mum and dad are obviously very, very busy. What you're actually talking about, what you're all talking about, is a way of living now that is very different to before, but is going to be like a new way of finding a life, isn't it? That new way of getting through every single day. How are you managing to find that normal life? Are you managing to do that?
I think in some ways, yeah. I mean, going to school is probably one of my favourite things to do at the moment, because it's just, I kind of forget about everything because it's normal and everyone treats me normally, which I like. And then you sort of go into this other world and like, it's completely different outside of school than in school now.
He's had a couple of detentions, so I suppose that's a win.
That's a good sign.
Is that back to normal?
Back to
Good
normal.
sign.
Kicking
Well done,
footballs
Charlie.
around and
Well, when you talked about the dogs at the house, there was a lovely story that you told me there about the dogs, and that they still go into Barney's room. Just tell people at home about it.
Yeah, because you spoke to Charlie in Barney's
Charlie,
room,
we did
didn't
the
you?
interview in his bedroom. Yeah.
The dogs have taken. Our little dog, Dougie, has his toys, which we call his babies. And he brings babies to show people. But he's taken, when all of this happened last summer, there's two that he's taken and he's put them on Barney's bed, hasn't he?
Yeah. And we've moved them.
And we've moved them a few times. He puts them back.
Exactly
and
the same place.
It's really funny. It's just, and they're there and they just go in and, yeah, quietly sit. There's that beautiful picture there. I took that in Exeter.
Yeah.
He'd just finished his A-levels.
Oh.
But yeah, the dogs go in and sit there and, yeah.
They take comfort from being there, like you all do.
And they've been a huge comfort to us, just to have that. Like, Charlie has normality with school and routine, and it's crazy how animals can do that.
Because you have to take them out. You have to get out of bed.
Yeah.
You have to have a routine.
You have to, yeah, absolutely. And with Charlie, like Charlie said, with school, it helps us because Charlie's in school at 8:20 in the morning, and you know, you have to get up, you have to take him in. You know, so it starts to sort of bring a little bit of a routine back, which was blown apart for a while. You know.
Yeah, you need that, don't you? See, I thought it'd be a good idea to get some therapy goats. At home.
No.
Yeah.
David wasn't sure about that.
No.
We were like, Charlie said,
No,
Mum,
Mum.
Yeah.
people stare at us enough. You don't want to be out walking goats. So I'm working on it.
Oh, well, look, as ever, in awe of your strength and your sense of purpose, all three of you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
all
you.
three of you,
Well
all
done.
three of you families.
And to the others, a shout out to the other two
Yes,
families.
of course.
It's good to see you all here. Thanks for
Well
coming
done.
up,
Thank
and
you.
all the best.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thanks for having us.
you.